Welcome to the first ever AccelerateHER Showcase. I'm Elizabeth Pirrie. I'm Chief Operating Officer of Investing Women and AccelerateHER, and I'm delighted to welcome you all here today. At AccelerateHER, we have got the best job in the world because we get to meet so many fantastic female founders. And every week we're hearing amazing pitches from life-changing companies. And we decided it was time to start sharing it out with you guys and letting other people see it as well, because we should be shouting from the rooftops about all this brilliant talent that we have in our country. And that's why we've decided to host an AccelerateHER Showcase today. Of course, it's no coincidence that it's happening the day after International Women's Day. Yesterday's theme of International Women's Day was Choose to Challenge. And the challenge that we have issued to our 4 participants today is to pitch for 10 minutes to all you lovely people. Now, you'll be able to ask questions. There's the Q&A function within the webinar. You'll see in the bottom of your screen there, you'll see a button for Q&A. So you can use them to ask questions. And what we'll do is, once they have delivered their 10-minute pitch, I'll pick out some of the questions that have been asked to ask the founder. So you can also, I believe, upvote the questions within the Q&A section. So please do put your votes in there, and please do ask any questions that you want to know. We will try and cover as many as possible, but also time is tight. So we'll see how we get on. So without further ado, I think it's time to welcome our first pitcher. I'm delighted to have Sheila Hogan from Biscuit Tin here. Sheila was winner of the AccelerateHER Awards 2020 in the FinTech, Data Science and Cybersecurity category. And actually, this is the second event that I've done with Sheila this week. And I can assure you, you're in for a treat when you hear her speak. So over to Sheila.
No pressure, Elizabeth. Thank you. Thanks for that lovely intro. Okay, I just need to share my screen. Everybody see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so my pitch starts for Life Closed Down for a New Era. I'm Sheila Hogan. I'm founder and CEO of Biscuit Tin Planning Limited, and it's a digital secure vault that holds all your important documents, accounts, all the life threads that you have about your life in the event that you die. It's all born from my personal experience of losing my parents and having to close down their lives and finding out that the whole thing is horrendously broken. The problem being that we are living a much more kind of complex, busy, connected lifestyle. It's all digital these days, but talking about death and planning for it is still taboo. And it's a very difficult thing to do, and it's often done way too late. The conventional end-of-life planning documents as such, even though they are legal and we have to have them, they don't meet all of our needs in terms of holistic estate that we have these days and document all of our wishes. And there's no easy way at the moment to organise and manage and share all that important life and end-of-life information in one place. The consequences of this are that 54% of us die with no will, 3 billion are intestate in the UK every year, 600,000 deaths, and 90% of the population have no plans at all for any digital footprint. And not being organised in any of this stuff and not planning in advance means that you actually leave a mess for those that you leave behind. So your loved ones are having to deal with all this at a time when they're emotionally distressed. And also the death has to be verified over and over again, and there's duplication and a huge administrative burden and cost for both bereaved and businesses alike. And hence, you know, as I said, the life close down process is completely broken. So the mission of the business, we're a fintech and death tech innovator is what we're calling ourselves. And our mission is to simplify the life close down process for both the bereaved and businesses alike. And our vision is to disrupt and transform the way we handle end-of-life planning and ultimately life close down to become a global trusted leader in this new death tech industry within the next 5 years. In a world where there are digital tools to simplify and manage almost every area of our lives, not having one to help close them down is actually a glaring omission. The opportunity is massive. The digital legacy is a new market, and the global addressable market is estimated to be worth a minimum of about $30 billion within the next 5 years. And if we only focused on the UK and we only got a 1% market share of that business, it would equate to an 8 million per annum recurring revenue business. But we also have international expansion within our sites across Europe, Asia and the US from year 3. The core component is the Biscuit Tin platform, and the core product of that is the digital secure vault, which I said holds all your accounts, important documents, wishes, memories, all in one place that are then released to those you nominate when you die. The status of it is that we went live last year, and we also won, as Elizabeth said, the AccelerateHER Award for FinTech and Cybersecurity. We also won the Innovate UK COVID response competition, and we came ranked 13 in Scotland's top tech 50. We've got a live proposition, and we're actively testing and tweaking constantly to verify the product market fit. And we're, again, proactively, we've got 6 interested corporate partnerships just now with a customer base of about 3 million customers. So it's quite exciting and obviously busy times for us right now. Our business model has got 3 core revenue streams. There's the D2C kind of business model, which is a biscuit tin subscription for individuals to just sign up. We've got B2B corporate partnerships, which can either be a marketing partnership for a revenue share deal or a white labeled license fee. And also we've got charges to go with the actual death verification service, all equating to an over 8 million per annum revenue business by 2024. In terms of the product pipeline, we've delivered the COVID response project, which actually enhanced our features quite a bit. As I said, we're verifying market fit ahead of the launch with the business partnerships. And then we've got things like family products, further integration like auto population from these partnerships of wills or insurance policies, etc. And also design of the death verification, delivery of that, and then international expansion from 2023. In terms of the competition, when I first had this idea, there was not a lot out there, to be fair, but new entrants are popping up all the time. But I actually believe this is a good thing. And I actually also believe that the way we handle this is on the cusp of change, and we're about on the tipping point for us to tip over into actually starting to actively plan ahead for end of life and actually to do it digitally. We're ahead of the curve in terms of the competition. And these new entrants actually provide more validation around the market, and that there is actually a market, and will also share the cost of educating the market too. Our key differentiators are obviously our speed to market advantage, the personal story we've got with it, we have proprietary security solution, and the product roadmap that we've got planned as well. And the key thing for us is to forge these corporate partnerships so we can stay ahead of the game. Our audience is the digital savvy over 35s. In the UK, we've got a 68 million population, and 20 million of those are in this bracket. And the digital kind of confidence is growing year on year, and 75% of the 35 to 54 years are now web savvy. And by that, we mean, you know, we do online banking, etc. As I said, our initial route to market is via corporate partnerships. So we've got insurers, financial service institutions, will provide as funeral planners, charities, employee benefit schemes, etc. Our first port of call to get that distribution and get it quick. The team itself has over 90 years experience running and transforming businesses digitally, and I'm really excited that we are forming a strategic advisory board with some high caliber, been there advisors, some tech entrepreneurs, well, one tech entrepreneur and a commercial expert expert who's already exited a SaaS business, so has been there and done it. And the asks for us are, we're actually seeking funding of £500,000. And that's to expand the Biscuit Tin team with a clear focus on business development and establishing those white label corporate partnerships. To sufficiently fund the marketing plan to confidently verify the Biscuit Tin product market fit, and to actually further enhance the Biscuit Tin technology platform with family versions of tins and death verification. And we're also seeking connections with potential commercial partners, as is logical, with a similar audience or related propositions. As I said before, anybody who's at that kind of life event point where they might be thinking of their end of life in some way. So in summary then, life closed down for a new era is that we envisage a future where everyone has a biscuit tin, a world where we plan our end of life like we plan any other important occasion, and where planning is the norm. And we hope that one day having a biscuit tin account will be as natural as having a bank account, and that when we die, it's verified once, only at source, and that digital service automates and the close down of our life threads according to our wishes. So it removes all that unnecessary burden from our loved ones. As I said, that £500,000 investment is now needed to fund the growth plan. Our financial plan, conservatively based on 225,000 UK subscribers, shows that equates to an 8.3 million revenue by 2024. It's a SaaS recurring revenue business, and those multipliers for a SaaS business command large multiples upon exit, giving a clear pathway for us for a significant return of capital in 3 to 4 years' time. And that's me. Thank you very much. Over to questions.
Well done, Sheila, and well within the 10 minutes. I can easily tell that you spent a lot of time working with me and my bell, although I wasn't intending on using it today. Now, I was just going to say there's no questions in the Q&A, but I do see that one has just popped up. That's actually a really good question. It's come from Jen Jenkins, Sheila. She says she wishes this had been available when she was executor on her parents' estate. And I'm sure there's many in the audience are thinking that right now. How can you secure the data from hackers, though, she's asking?
So from hackers itself, so we've got a number of different security measures, to be fair, but we use, the platform that we use is the most secure at the moment in the field, and it's MS Azure. So we use that platform, but also we've got a proprietary solution where we actually segregate the data into different spaces. It's all encrypted in those different spaces, and you have to have all the relevant security components together to actually encrypt any of it. And we have had hackers trying to get in. Touch wood, obviously, they're always ahead of the game in things, but we are quite confident around the security at the moment. And in terms of access, there's two-factor authentication. We've also got identity checks in there for both creators of a biscuit tin and nominees on a biscuit tin. So yeah, we've done kind of like all we can, and I can hand on heart, having worked in some of these institutions, say that I think we're on par, if not greater security levels than the banks.
That's great. That's really reassuring to hear as well. There's a wee question has slipped into the chat box there from Evelyn Simpson, who's one of our angels. What regulatory hurdles do you face for death verification?
Well, the FCA are coming into this space, and there's new things happening all the time because it's just not regulated at all at the moment. In terms of the verification, we are working on a digital trust model with the use of blockchain to try and create a ledger, basically, that would actually then handle the death certificates that we can then share. So in terms of regulatory, it's FCA stuff and confidence that we've got the right documents, we've actually got the right identity. But in terms of regulation as such, there aren't any at the moment, apart from the data protection. There are bereavement standards in play, and like I say, the FCA are getting more involved in terms of the services to actually regulate, but I'm not aware, you know, of any others in that space.
Super, thanks. Time for one more question, and then I think one of our panelists has a question for you, Sheila.
Yeah.
So the questions actually that are popping up are all round about pricing. So what's it going to cost for a year, and are you thinking about a family offer?
So yes, I mean, I don't know how much the family offer might be yet, and we're a new proposition. We've yet to so the on the website at the moment, the actual and our kind of assumptions are that it will be $49.99 per annum or $4.99 per month, and that's what we've got the pricing point to be at the moment. We've got to kind of like test that in some way. We have done some testing. We did some testing with the prototype on price. Excuse me, originally it was $29.99 per annum, and all the feedback we got was we wouldn't trust it at that price. You know, so you know, there's a price point test to be had when we get some more volume, but that's the current price at the moment. What we're doing with commercial partnerships is that we're using that, obviously, that as a price point to benchmark against, but it's up to them whether they want to absorb the cost and or pass it on to their customers, because this can be seen as a value add proposition to what they're doing.
Absolutely, yeah, that makes sense. Thanks, Sheila. Now, there are still some questions in the Q&A box, so once you're finished, if you can hop on there and type answers to them, I'm sure everyone would be delighted to see those. Meantime, we do have a question from Lindsay McGranahan, who's on the panel here. This event is brought to you in association with our friends at CGI UK, and Lindsay is the Vice President. She's the business unit lead for Scotland. And Lindsay, I believe you've got a question.
Yeah, apologies. Good afternoon. Lots of echo. I think that's better now. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, Liz, I was a tiny little bit late, so I've probably not followed your protocol. Apologies. It was just a question. Sheila, great presentation. Thank you. Really interesting. We do quite a lot of work in CGI with local authority and Scottish Government in particular, and I'm just wondering if you have had any discussions with either of central or local government bodies around a kind of more end-to-end service, given the amount of interface that's required with those organisations at the point of death.
Not yet, but it's on the card. So I'm working with the Innovation Centre. So if you, I mean, Lindsay, if you've got contacts in there that you'd be happy to share, I would welcome it. Yeah, I would definitely welcome it. I am working at the moment with the Data Lab at Bayes Innovation Centre, and we're going for the next smart call, you know, for this death verification, and that is going to involve bringing in those other, you know, some public bodies, etc. So yeah, any contact would be really useful. But
we can probably help in Scotland. Yeah, we're in Edinburgh and Glasgow Council and Borders Council. So yeah, happy to help.
Fabulous, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. That's a lovely note to end on there, Sheila. I'm sure there's many people in the audience thinking that there's some way they could help Sheila or connect her to someone. What we will be doing is, after the event, we're going to be sending out a feedback survey, and in that survey you'll be able to indicate if you would like an introduction to the founder, and we'll facilitate that so that you can take the conversation forward. If it's simply to use their services, then you've got their websites. We've shared that in the programme. But if there's some way you would like to connect with them to help them, then please do complete that in the feedback survey. So thank you very much, Sheila. Well done. It's never easy going first.
I thought you were very mean putting me first, Elizabeth.
I know,
really did.
I know, but I knew you could take it.
I forgive you. It's over with now.
I will say it was completely random. It's no particular order, so don't take it personally.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Do go and answer those other questions there, Sheila. Next up, we have Monica Tomeka from U Fraction 8. Now, Monica was a winner of the AccelerateHER Awards in 2018, I think I'm right in saying, Monica.
I think it's 19, but I was actually thinking about it as well just before when I was preparing the presentation.
It feels like a long time ago anyway, but you're in for a treat, ladies and gentlemen, hearing this pitch. Over to you, Monica.
Thank you very much for that. So I will do the same. I will try to share my screen and I will pop it full screen. If you can nod to me, if you can see it full screen, that'd be great. Perfect. Okay, so I thought, like, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be part of AccelerateHER Showcase. And I thought it will be a good idea to start actually from saying what you've actually already said, Elizabeth, that you fractionate and accelerate hair and investing women. We actually have quite a bit of a history already. I mean, we started interaction pretty much as early as I've started the company. So I believe it was early 2018 when I was first, had some meetings and we encountered certain events. But I wanted to say that I'm super, super happy to be part of this community. I'm super happy to get the support from Investing Women. And this is ongoing support since then until now. I had great mentoring and mentors from there. I had valuable trainings, which I was part of, and boot camps, which they were organized by Investing Women. And Investing Women actually facilitate quite a few introductions for me as well. So I was super happy and very thankful for those as well. I've been part of some trade missions in California and Dubai with Investing Women, including visit to Virgin Galactic. So there was a lot going on between the two entities. And I'm super happy to be part of the community. So thanks for having me. But I'm not here today to talk so much about our interactions. I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about our company and what we're actually doing. And I wanted to start it by saying that the future of manufacturing is built with biology. And as you can see on the screen, those are not my words. Those are actually, this is the headline from Forbes magazine from last year. And it actually came out not only because of the COVID pandemic. Like, I'm not saying, of course, biomanufacturing and bioproduction can make vaccines and antibodies for COVID-19, but it can also make our food, it can make feed for our animals, our medicines, bioplastics, biofuels, and many other products. And despite of the variety of these products which can be made and variety of the cells which are used for this production, the processes which biomanufacture undergoes to make those products are almost exactly the same. They choose the cell, they grow the cell, and then they harvest it. But it's important to mention that up to 80% of total production costs can lie in this harvesting or downstream processing stage. And that's because harvesting or downstream processing is a multi-stage, inefficient, and expensive process, very often combining filtration, flocculation, centrifugation, and final drying to take the product out of the liquid in which it is grown. At Ufractionate, we are focusing on exchanging this inefficient chain of reactions with one piece of microfluidics-based filtration system. By doing so, we're making the process much more simple, cheaper, and more efficient to our customers. We actually can offer an amazing savings both on CapEx and OpEx by minimizing the installation costs and saving up to 3/4 of the energy being used for this harvesting or downstream processing stage. Our technology has many features which allows us to do that or enable us to do that, but don't worry, I'm not going to go through all of them. The one which I would like to point out, though, is the fact that we can close our instrument into the closed loop system, allowing continuous production. And continuous manufacturing is a big buzzword for biopharma, and we are getting quite a lot of interest from biopharmaceutical companies because of that feature. So that's the only one I wanted to point out today. So how are we doing it? Like, how are we able to do that? As I already said, we are, our secret sauce is microfluidics. We are working with microfluidics at scale, at the industrial scale, but a while back, we've actually started with single microfluidics chips. That was throughout the PhD of my co-founder. And then we've actually patented a way of parallelizing microfluidics into modules. And then we have a way of putting several modules working together to increase the throughput through the system. At the moment, the biggest instrument we've built, it's a 5-module system, and it's a pilot scale instrument. The next step for us is to build 100-module system, which will be the full-scale industrial instrument, which we'll be taking to our customers. We've already got quite a bit of traction since we started this company, traction both on the technology and on the company. We are interacting very closely with our potential customers. We have 12 letters of interest. We've already delivered 8 successful demonstrations with our potential customers. Up till the end of 2020, we've actually raised over 800,000 pounds into our company, 800 in cash, around 250,000 in kind support from our partners. We are supported by several organizations such as Innovate UK. We are at the moment running 3 Innovate UK projects with great organizations, partner organizations such as National Physics Laboratory in London. In 2019, we've opened fully owned Polish subsidiary called Ufractionate Poland to actually allow us undisturbed access to the European market post-Brexit. And I'm also very happy to announce that we've just been awarded 1.4 million European grant, which will take us all the way up to the commercialization. Under this grant, we will be building a 100-module system, which I showed you on the previous slide. So after we build it, we actually will be targeting and tackling the bioseparation instrument market. Bioseparation instrument market is 19 billion globally, but our beachhead market is 2 billion. We are actually starting with our technology and microalgae production market at first, and then we expanding to biopharma as we go along. And due to the high regulatory compliance at that market, we actually put it on the second place. But we already interacting with both of those markets. So microalgae, we've started as early as we started the company. We have a lot of potential customers over there. By now, many of them are already befriended and they are happy to, be beta testers of our technology. So there's a lot going on in microalgae field. Recently, we are getting more and more traction with biopharmaceutical market. Funny enough, many of those big corporates actually contact us, which I think it's a good news for Ufractionate. So we are very strongly developing our biopharma proposition as well. So our business model is simple. We aim to be a technology provider. Our current revenue up to date came all from paid pilots and joint development agreements. We are looking to bring and sell our pilot instruments into our beachhead market at first, which is microalgae, and then we will expand to biopharma market. At the moment, we're seeing that licensing model will be most possible for that market. So as you can see on the right-hand side, we actually have a 3-phase development. The phase 1 R&D is already done. We've literally just entered phase 2, where we are doing the scale up of the technology and focusing on commercial demonstrations with potential customers. The phase 2 will last until the end of 2023, when we will end up with full industrial unit, which will be fully certified and will be ready to take it to the market. At that point, we probably will sit at the fork in the road. In a way, we can go for manufacturing ourselves, in which case we will have to close another quite a big investment round to be able to open assembly facility and start manufacturing by ourselves. Another possibility at that stage might be the licensing for the technology providers who are already there. Again, depending what we will have at our table at that point, depending what kind of deals we will be able to bring in, by then we will be deciding what the route will be next. Interesting part is that could also be a potential way for exit opportunity, both for the company or for early stage investors. I thought I'll just mention that because of the audience we are having. So we are Ufractionate. I'm Dr. Monika Tomeka, founder and director of Ufractionate. I have a PhD in biomedical science, which means I speak the same language that our potential customers. Dr. Brian Miller, he is my co-founder. He's a professional engineer, expert in microfluidics, and he's an inventor of our technology. We are also supported by great advisors, both commercial and technical, which are helping us to strategize moving forward. We've also managed to collect a great team of people. We have experienced engineers working with us. We have best project managers we could find, and we slowly growing our research and development team as well. At the moment, we are actually raising a round of 2.5 million pounds, out of which 1.75 is already committed. So we are still raising 750,000. And that money will last us for the full scale-up project. It will last until the end of 2023, under which we will build the 100-module system, which I've mentioned to you already. We will focus on the customer demonstrations, at least those which I've showed you in the previous slides as well. We will be expanding our IP portfolio. So at the moment, we have 2 patents, and we see the potential for others. So that's going to happen as well. We will focus on getting certifications on our technology. So we have to get done all the regulatory compliance. So the instrument after that stage will be ready to commercialize, and we will further expand our team. So that's me for today, and I would be very happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Monica. I think it's fair to say you've been quite busy since we were in California.
That's true. That's very true.
And congratulations on that grant award. That's just phenomenal. What a huge difference that will make for you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Brilliant. Does anybody have any questions? I don't see any popping up yet in the box for Monica. They're all still sort of filtering in for Sheila. But so do any of our panelists have any questions for Monica?
I think mine's just more a congratulations, Monica. That's superb progress.
Thank you.
We've kept in touch, obviously we have, but even since we last spoke, I can see a whole bunch more progress having been made. Really well done. That's a really fantastic group of external advisors as well, which I imagine, actually that's maybe something interesting to share with others here. I know we've already seen that. I was noticing that Sheila put together some really great board and advisors, which is great. How much do you think that's actually really helping you as you drive the business forward now, Monica?
I mean, it's probably good to say that, I started the company when I was a scientist. I came out of my PhD, so I had no idea, or at least not much of the idea about the business and finance and developing the company. So advisors throughout the way were like crucial for us. They were fundamental in making a lot of, very important decisions for us. So getting somebody who actually been on that journey before and they understand the market or they understand the business, that definitely was really important. But also we actually get a lot of advisors as we progress. So that was also quite nice to see that, at the certain stage when you have different questions to ask, obviously, and then looking for the people who can answer the current questions. This is always important as well.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Monica.
No problem.
How much has your offering changed, Monica, since you started Ufractionate? Is the core of it still the same? Is the core of what you're doing still the same from when you started Ufractionate? Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze.
It actually changed quite a little bit. I'll try. I think I understood the question. So we did start. We did started with microalgae field as our beachhead market. We were very strongly focused on it, and this is where all our developments were done at the beginning. As I said on my presentation, we are getting more and more interest from biopharma, which is a huge change. Being in microalgae, it's very, I would say, it's a clean tech play. While when we're talking to biopharma, it's obviously shifting to the whole, biomed, biotech. So there is a bit of a change. However, we still very much interact with microalgae field, and we know that we will definitely deploy our instruments to them. But also we've realized that all the data we've collected with microalgae, which again is much easier to access as a biomass than mammalian cells, which are normally used in biopharma, all those results or those data we are actually using and showing to our potential customers in biopharma. And they really look at them as a really good representation of what they will be doing as an industry as well. So despite the shift which we've seen, and despite, I'm not sure if I can call it pivot, but a little bit, pretty much everything which we were doing is still relevant. So I guess that's a soft pivot, if you can say that.
Good stuff, good stuff. And Liso is asking, do you have any direct or indirect competitors?
Absolutely. So at the moment, the technologies which are used in the market are filters, membranes, and centrifuges. So those are the big technologies which are established already, and we definitely try to eat into their market share, into their market. So definitely those are our main competitors and the most glaring one. But because the need for novel technologies in this space is actually shown in several different places, there's a lot of like European reports which are saying that novel technologies in this space are crucial to enable the growth of that field. There's actually quite a lot of people who are trying to innovate in this space as well. So we are working with microfluidics. There are other people working with bubble columns and belt presses and all other new technologies. So absolutely, we have the competitors in this space. However, I think we have a bit of a first move advantage. So when we were starting, there was not many people working on it. And also, even now, a lot of the new technologies are still at the universities, so not many of them got commercialized yet. Actually, none of them got commercialized yet, and we are on our way to commercialization, but we are already, as you know, an entity as a company. So we keeping an eye on those small guys as well, because they might be much more scary than the big ones.
Absolutely, yeah, that's great. Time's up for Monica, I'm afraid. Thank you very much, Monica. It's really great to hear from you and hear how far you've progressed since I last saw you. There are a couple of questions in the chat, particularly from Evelyn. I'm not sure I'm picking them all up. So if you wanted to hop on the chat afterwards and answer those questions, that would be great. But
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So having heard from our first two fabulous founders, it's time to hear from another two fabulous women. As I say, this event has been run alongside our friends at CGI, and we have with us Lindsay McGranahan, who is the Vice President and Business Unit Lead for Scotland. I hope I've got your title right there, Lindsay.
Yeah,
and
it's more the surname people have problems with, Liz, but yeah, job title's good.
McGranahan, have I got that right?
Yeah, more or less, that'll do.
More or less, you'll know who I'm talking about.
You can't be precious with a name like McGranahan.
Absolutely not, yeah. And of course, we have Jackie Waring with us, who is the founder and CEO of AccelerateHER. So I thought I'd take a few minutes in the middle just to have a chat with them. Jackie, welcome, lovely to see you.
Thank you. Long time no see, Elizabeth. Yes.
Indeed, yes. I feel like you spend your life sitting on my desk at the moment, yes. via Zoom. Yeah. So, ladies, yesterday was International Women's Day. The theme was choose to challenge. And I know that both of you throughout your careers have challenged in many, many ways. Lindsay, I'm going to start with you. Tell us, how have you challenged and what challenges have you faced in your career to get to where you are now?
So first of all, thanks for inviting me along today. Is there an echo coming through? That's better. It just seems to be when I start talking. Okay, so thanks for inviting me along today. It's an absolute privilege, and it's really exciting to see some great new, founders with fantastic ideas. So I know we've only seen two, and I've got another two to come, but I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, I guess from my perspective, the challenge, and I've seen this a lot in LinkedIn in the last week or so, obviously, as the build up to International Women's Day yesterday took place. But for me, and what I see with a lot of women within our industry, it's about challenging yourself. So in the past, there's been barriers put up, some of which by previous organisations, I'm pleased to say not CGI, but mainly barriers in my own mind around what I was or wasn't capable of, and some glass ceilings around that. So when I think back to, a couple of years out of a graduate scheme in another IT organisation, I thought I would get to a particular level in an organisation and that would be it for me, because I thought, well, I'm not strategic enough, I don't have enough experience in this, that and the other, and that'll be the cap. And it was only when I was going through a very, very difficult project down south. I used to work in London in central government, and me and my team needed something to get us through some very difficult times. And we started to talk about the kind of three things that we wanted to do by the time we were 35. And the kind of more ridiculous, the better, because we needed something to be hopeful for during that difficult time. And I picked three things, which at the time seemed a little bit ridiculous. So one was I wanted to be on the board of the UK. The next was I wanted to pay off my mortgage. And then the final one was I wanted to have lots of fun doing it. So I haven't paid off my mortgage because I spent too much money. So that one has not happened by the time I was 35. But I am now on the UK board, and I was the youngest person globally to be on the UK board. And that was something early doors in my career that I just never thought was possible. And I talked to many women who don't even think about projecting themselves that far forward, whether it's board level, VP level, director level, running their own business. And I guess my experience is by putting something that women may think is ridiculous out into the world, actually the chances of that materializing, or even materializing to a certain point, I was like, if I get halfway there, I'm great, because I never thought I would even get halfway there. So it just goes to show the potential that you've got. As I say, it's a bit naff, but when you put something into the world and then focus on that and work towards it, you achieve things that are quite remarkable. So I need to think of my next 3 things by the time I'm 40. I haven't got round to doing that yet, so it's stressing me out a little bit. But I would say for women in particular, and as I say, I see it a lot in my industry, is that they limit themselves. And in my experience, there's absolutely no reason to do that. So be a little bit ridiculous, and shoot for something, because actually when you push yourself and challenge yourself, you can always do so much more than you think you're capable of.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there, Lindsay. Shoot for the moon and you might at least hit the chimney pots.
Definitely.
If anyone's got any suggestions for Lindsay's next 3 goals, please put them in the chat. I'm sure
the mortgage is still on the list, actually.
The mortgage is still on the list.
That carries forward.
Yeah, if you want to add paying off my mortgage to that list as well, that would be great. But you're right, Lindsay, it comes from challenging yourself. And I always say the only people's behaviour that you can change is your own. So you have to believe that you're capable of doing anything. Jackie, I'm going to bring you in here. Clearly, you're not setting goals for your 35th birthday at the moment. But I happen to know you had achieved a very significant goal before you reached 35 in being the youngest ever chief exec of an enterprise agency. So, tell us a wee bit about that and how that challenged you and who you challenged.
All right, thanks, Elizabeth. Yeah, gosh, I'm not that far over 35. It's quite a lot over 35. It's amazing to hear Lindsay's achievements at your age, Lindsay. It's just remarkable and amazing. And I couldn't agree more with what Lindsay has said about challenge yourself. And I think, I look back now, and I consider myself really quite privileged, very, very lucky actually, at 25 to have been the youngest chief exec within Enterprise Network, which lots of shapes and sizes of that, but Enterprise Network throughout the whole of the UK. And I think it was one of these situations where I grew into it, but I was really lucky at 25 to take on that role and be surrounded by some of the biggest names in business actually on my board of directors. And because this was an organization that was about helping other businesses, as opposed to a profit-making entity. I think I had the great privilege of actually learning from an amazing board of directors who just the bigger the challenge, the more they loved it. And the biggest single thing that I gained from that in terms of challenge yourself, exactly what Lindsay's been saying, is just that. It's just stop, just get rid of the word can't, and just focus on can do. And I totally got that mindset from our board of directors, because they were all entrepreneurs themselves and all already done amazing things in business, and they were wanting to help younger, earlier stage businesses get along, get a leg up basically. And that's what we were all about. And I guess that was the starting point for me, for me personally, and just thinking, why can't I, do a lot, more than this in the future? I loved that role. It was actually really quite hard to leave it. I was there for 10 years, but for all sorts of reasons, and I did move on to various other roles after that, and run other commercial organizations, fully commercial organizations from there as a managing director, and then ultimately the choose to challenge with both AccelerateHER and Investing Women Angels, or 2 sister organizations very well represented here today, was, if you really boil it down, actually really about, all about helping other women to do exactly that, to choose to challenge, to change the dynamics. And I mean, one of our straplines with the Angel Group, Investing Women Angels, as the name suggests, we're all female business angels, is changing the face of angel investment here in Scotland, which, despite our massively dynamic angel community here in Scotland, at the point of setting up Investing Women Angels, and this was why I did it, was only approximately 2% female. And, you know, absolutely no reason why that community should have such low levels of you know, female angel investors. And, you know, we recognise, and I recognise that it wasn't just the money that was missing from that. The money is fantastic. Clearly, everybody raising investment will totally relate to that. You need it. We all need that to progress and grow our companies. But it's actually, as evidenced by the fantastic angels that we have with us here today, it is the talent and the industry expertise and the knowledge and the networks and the access to people and introductions and all the rest of the good stuff that comes with it, that those angels bring with them. And in Scotland, you know, prior to choosing to challenge to change that dynamic, we were missing 50% of the talent. Now we've got a long way to go. I would say that we've trebled the level of female angel investors in Scotland in the relatively short period of time we've been around at Investing Women Angels, but that's nowhere near where we want to get to until such time as it really is 50-50 where it should be. You know, we've still got a job to do there, so that's a work in progress. And then the choose to challenge on the other side of this with the amazing female founders, 4 of whom you're meeting today, is about challenging the status quo that existed before in terms of, well, many things, but the pinnacle of which probably is the, you know, the much publicized stats on the lack of investment that has, you know, gone into female founded companies. And, you know, we created AccelerateHER as very much a platform, not so much in the tech sense, although increasingly so, but much more a platform in terms of the visibility, the introductions, the events like today, you know, and how it's wonderful having CGI as a partner and really helping us elevate and you know, make more visible these great female founders so that they can get connected to the right people, be these advisors, investors, you know, ultimately find those routes to the investment that will help companies grow and change the statistics on that. And I'm happy to say that that is also working. We're not huge as an angel group, so we can't do it all ourselves. We participate as much as we possibly can. Increasingly, we're aiming to increase our size quite significantly. We're on target for that this next year and ongoing, and we will be leading the way more often in deals. But we work equally hard to try and introduce our founders to others that can perhaps back them as much as we can. So that's how I've done it. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you, Jackie. And something I'm particularly proud of that we do at AccelerateHER and Investing Women is that you can do it attitude. And we've found that in CGI as well. Time's running short. I'd love to talk to you two ladies all afternoon, but I'm going to leave the last word to Lindsay because I know that you've got a passion for encouraging girls into STEM. What can we do to make the world a better place for future generations, not just for our daughters, but for our sons as well, that maybe they won't face some of the challenges that we've faced, Lindsay?
So what I would say, my wee echo again, there we go, that's when I know I start talking. I mean, look, we have come far, right? We've not come far enough. You know, when I think back to when I finished up university, a number of years ago, I had no real choice. I wanted to join a graduate scheme. I had to move down to London. There weren't jobs here for me. And I've been delighted moving back to Scotland in the last 5 years of the amount of opportunity for young people across Scotland, whether it's through modern apprenticeships, you know, much richer and much more varied modern apprenticeships than, you know, previous years, undergrad programs, etc., that offer through industries like you know, tech and CGI. So there is a lot more opportunity available in Scotland. I think the work that Scottish Government are doing and local government is doing to encourage inward investment is really forcing corporations like ourselves and other businesses to be much more responsible in terms of, you know, providing more back into the economy for the area for which we work and live. And as a Scottish citizen, that's obviously great to see because you know that what you're doing is making a real difference in the town in which you live. So I would say definitely dialing up more of that and rewarding organisations, you know, who are actively participating in inward investment and potentially not rewarding organisations that aren't, because there's still quite a few that aren't doing probably their fair share. And then I think the final bit is around positive role models. So, you know, I've been very fortunate in my experience to be surrounded by a number of very senior male and female, much like yourself, Jackie. I learned, you know, from some of the best people in our organisation at a very young age, and it had a lasting impression on me. And I think the more that we can create positive role models, male and female, to encourage people to reach their full potential, but also create a responsibility on individuals to pay it forward. So as you imagine, and I know all you guys will do, we do a lot of coaching and mentoring, you know, across our ecosystem. And my rule is always that you pay it forward. So if you've been invested in and people have invested time in you, you pay it forward to the younger generation. So I guess that would be my ask, you know, keep, you know, leveraging, you know, Scottish government and local government to encourage inward investment, you know, from corporations, from, you know, small to medium-sized enterprises, and you know, incentivise them to do that, to create the economy and the jobs for Scotland. But then at an individual level, you know, give back, you know, make time, because we all had a huge amount of help and continue to have a huge amount of help. So, you know, we all know how important it is, and giving it and paying it forward, I think, is, yeah, hugely important.
Absolutely, yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, Lindsay. Pay it forward. And, you know, we see all the good work that CGI is doing. It's not something that you guys shout about very much. So we'll try and blow your trumpet for you.
Yeah, we're a bit shy. We're a bit shy.
You're a bit shy, but we'll keep pulling out your shell and sing your praises some more. Thank you very much, Jackie and Lindsay. Really great to hear from both of you. Let's get back to some more fantastic female founders. Next up, we have Kate Cameron of Cytochroma, and Kate was a finalist in the 2019 AccelerateHER Awards, and just recently announced as a finalist in the 2021 AccelerateHER Awards. Congratulations, Kate. Lovely to see you again. I shall pass over to you to do your presentation.
Thank you very much. Just get this loaded. So, here we go. Good afternoon, and thank you to Investing Women for organising this event, and also to CGI for sponsoring. I'm Kate. I'm the CEO and founder of Cytochroma. Our mission is to accelerate drug discovery by identifying novel medicines faster and more efficiently without the use of lab animals. Faster access to medicines and antiviral vaccines would have significant societal, environmental and economic impacts, both in the short, long term. The COVID-19 vaccine development occurred at unprecedented speed and highlighted the inefficiency at which new medicines are currently made. Drug development still takes on average 12 years and costs over £1.5 billion. And this is because most drugs will fail in clinical trials because predicting reactions in humans can't be determined with current animals and tests. Significant work is focused on deriving suitable liver and cardiac systems, as these organs represent the primary cause of attrition. However, limitations in the supply and quality of liver models have demonstrated they're not advanced enough. There is a faster, more efficient process of drug development without animal testing is desperately needed, and this is the problem that Cytochroma addresses. We've developed human liver models and a powerful testing platform to accelerate drug discovery and development. Derived from healthy adult donor blood from a diverse global population, our stem cells can be used to make a renewable supply of healthy and diseased liver tissue. Our mini livers give us unique insight into how new drugs will react globally in health and disease. And these liver models can be used to test the safety and effect of new drugs ahead of clinical trials. To measure the effect of new drugs, we use state-of-the-art imaging, measuring visual changes at a single cell level. This information is then processed via machine learning, and the data fed back to drug developers to give confidence in the drug's safety or used to understand how their treatments can be improved. These human models are more accurate and, due to their stability, have the potential to replace early animal testing. By reducing animal testing, we can cut the time and cost of delivering essential drugs and vaccines to market. The in vitro toxicology market is large and growing rapidly. Europe and the UK occupy the largest market sector and are home to many large pharmaceutical companies and contract research organisations. Recent changes in regulation to reduce animal testing has increased the use of stem cell models that can predict toxicity more accurately. Cytochroma is ideally placed to take advantage of the fastest and largest growing market segment, which is liver. Our capacity to model diet-induced diseases enables us to grow into additional drug discovery markets, which are characterized by large-scale pharmaceutical contracts. Over the past few years, we've made significant progress, and we've been funded by just over £400,000 in large grants, and we've conducted IP audits, signed essential licenses, and have freedom to operate. We've also established offices and labs at Roslin Innovation Centre and built a team of scientists. This year, we saw some revenue and are now seeking investment to accelerate growth, secure larger sales contracts, and build value. We're an ambitious and highly driven company with a view to transform drug development. Our business model is shown here. Cytochroma is a contract research organisation that offers bespoke testing. Our tiered pricing system is based on a cost-plus model, but also on the valuable insight that we can provide. Due to automated manufacture and our rapid testing process, it is a highly efficient process and gives us profit margins of over 70%. This makes us a high profit, high growth business. We are actively seeking large pharmaceutical customers, but this will be accelerated through recruitment of specialist-driven sales team. Our key competitors are other cell manufacturers who supply cells and models, but these require their customers to have experience, facilities, and access to equipment. They're also subject to human error and can contain animal derivatives, which makes them variable batch to batch and therefore unsuitable for large-scale testing. Cytochroma eliminate variability and the unnecessary steps by providing renewable, reliable cell models and testing. I have a scientific background, a PhD from Edinburgh University, and over 15 years research experience. After I left academia to start Cytochroma, I was awarded a BBSRC RSE Enterprise Fellowship, and I've also had quite good success at getting grants. I've also won multiple business awards and worked in the business full time. Margaret joined me just over 2 years ago. She founded Vitrology, a similar contract research organisation, and led it to a successful exit in 2012. She has excellent business development expertise and is leading our commercial strategy. Adil and Cora are fantastic multidisciplinary scientists who have helped develop our novel liver models and optimised our testing platform. We also work closely with experienced advisors and have a strategic collaboration with the Beatson Institute with academic leaders at Glasgow University. We are seeking a commercial manager and also an additional non-exec board member with pharmaceutical sector experience and connections. Cytochroma has several components that give us an unfair advantage over our competition. We can make healthy and disease models for diet-induced conditions that affect over 1/3 of the world's population, and can use these models to identify novel therapies. Our diverse stem cell library contains genetic backgrounds that FDA has highlighted as underrepresented in clinical trials, and our powerful screening platform can more accurately and more rapidly identify the safety and effect of new drugs, using artificial intelligence and machine learning to become smarter over time. At present, only Cytochroma can offer the testing and stem cell-derived models. Stem cell differentiation in cell manufacture is a heavily patented area, and Cytochroma use a unique process that does not infringe on any known patents. New and existing patents are under frequent and regular review. Full IP protection would give our competitors detailed production instructions, so we've kept them a trade secret for now. Essential licenses and third-party agreements have been negotiated and signed, and we have freedom to operate. We are currently seeking investment of £1.25 million to launch our services and capture this timely market opportunity and realise the commercial potential of the business. This capital will be used to secure a strong client base and identify large-scale contracts, to build partnerships and collaborations with existing CROs to broaden our customer base and enhance our sales pipeline, and to develop new products and services to meet customer demand and stay ahead of the competition. Due to our defined, scalable and automated workflow, this business can be translated to multiple sites and fulfill demand for these services worldwide. Cytochroma is a timely, sustainable, and highly scalable business, and we have already attracted interest, but plan to build value before we execute a favourable exit to a large known CRO or pharmaceutical company. Cytochroma has developed accurate human liver models and a powerful testing platform to transform drug discovery and development. Please get in contact to help us fulfill our mission to build the next multi-million-dollar business in Scotland. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Kate. It blows my mind every time I hear you pitch, the idea that you're just making these mini livers. It's just incredible. I have a question from Jen, and she's asking, why would a pharmaceutical company not want to use your technology? i.e., what are your most obvious barriers to sale?
Probably the most obvious one at the moment is that we're a very small company and we don't have any traction just yet. So it's through partnering with larger CROs and other pharmaceutical companies that we can gain that I don't know what the right word is. So to have that market presence and that trust from our customers, and I think that's going to be the hardest part so far. Yeah.
It's kind of that chicken and egg situation, isn't it? They want you to have the experience, but you can't get the experience unless they work with you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hopefully you'll get there with that. That was the only question. I can't believe that was the only one. Oh no, here we have, Rona has popped up with a question for you. Great presentation, Kate. I can only echo that. Can you talk a bit more about your business model and pricing?
Sure. So our business model pivoted from producing both cells and testing to now just providing testing. This is to eliminate any variability there would be with sending the cells, as they're extremely temperamental to be sending like through the post. So our business model for selling is based on the number of compounds that our customers would want to screen. If it's a standard test, that would obviously be a lot cheaper than looking at our phenotypic screen, which measures the cellular changes. So it's a sort of gradually tiered pricing system, and also based on how much work our scientists would need to do, and also how much value that we're giving back to them. For example, if we were screening in 15 different diverse populations, that would obviously incur a much larger price than it would be just screening in one ethnic diversity or population. So.
And presumably that's comparable to models to similar businesses to yourself in that industry, yeah?
Yeah. They're all generally quite bespoke based on the testing, yeah.
Yeah. I've got a question in the chat box here from Evelyn McDonald. She's saying 1.25 million is a tricky sum to raise in Scotland. Absolutely. How is the fundraising going, and are you looking outside Scotland and the UK for funding?
We are. So we've got two approaches. So we're looking at private equity through angels, VCs, locally and nationally. We've also started to contact a couple of VCs slightly further afield in America. But we're getting quite a lot of corporate interest already. So it might be a faster and more efficient route to market by partnering up with one of them. We do have some funding secured already, so we're just looking for a lead investor now, and with the support of the Scottish Investment Bank, they can match funding, so it's reducing our ask quite significantly. So if it's one of their preferred partners that we would be working with, we'd be actually looking closer to 500 to 600,000 pounds to raise. So if anyone has deep pockets out there, just give me a shout.
Absolutely, that's great. Thanks very much, Kate. Really great to hear you pitch again. Looking forward to hearing you again on the 25th of March. If anybody wants to hear the abridged version of Kate's pitch, because it's a 3-minute pitch at the finals, then do come along and watch them. They'll be live on Zoom again, being broadcast to YouTube, and details of how you can watch that will be coming out on our social media over the next few days. So good luck, Kate, with that. Well, finally, and I just can't resist saying this, our last presentation is terrible. Tersha Willis was winner of the Disruptive Innovation category at the AccelerateHER Awards in 2020. And back then, Tersha, you were called Terrible Merch. But you've decided it's about more than the merch now, so you are terrible. But I feel terrible calling you terrible.
Don't. We've used the word a little differently. It's now, you can put it in front of anything. Terrible pizza, terrible coffee. It's great. Works.
Absolutely. Terrible is great.
Yeah, we can do. We can expand our empire. Look, we always over deliver. So hopefully I can over deliver on a long pitch today where normally I like the short ones.
Fantastic. Take it away, Tersha.
Yes. All right. So let's just get that going. So I'm Tersha. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Terrible. We're a platform and a mobile app where artists can make, manage, distribute, and sell products to their fans online and at shows. So essentially, we're helping artists make money in the last remaining physical revenue stream in music without a digital competitor. This is a terrible idea because we have 400 clients and we're growing, and we have generated 1.5 million in revenue. And last year we won two awards, one of those being the AccelerateHER. The market is currently worth 20 billion. And lastly, we're a known and loved brand in the music industry. So what's the problem we're trying to solve? Merchandise is basically, as I said, a vital source of revenue for artists in the age of music streaming, but they struggle to make, manage, and sell it effectively. They struggle with this for a myriad of reasons. Inventory, basically making it, managing it, and moving it all prove to be very difficult and expensive. Revenue, like any business, generating it and reporting it is tough. And the products, poor design, poor quality, poorly sourced, unsustainable. So how are we solving this problem? We create the right assets, the right products at the right volume. We're facilitating payments online and on tour, and we're providing specialist tools and support. We're helping artists accumulate revenue and data to better serve their fans and their businesses. Now, anyone can say they provide specialist tools and support, but Terrible is the first of its kind, online, on tour, and on time. It's a platform and a mobile app and a simple and effective tool for live music and merchandise businesses online and at shows. So how does Terrible work? As with all great things, it begins with great design. Sourcing happens via the Terrible B2B marketplace, where payments are facilitated amongst all parties. Supply is then delivered via automated logistics, and it can be tracked, traced, and timed. Payments for in-person sales anywhere in the world or online are done via Terrible Pay. Finally, real-time reporting and remittance on demand. So how do we make money? We have a SaaS model for the use of services outside of the marketplace or outside of the sales platform. We have a commission on the supply of goods sold via the marketplace, and we charge a transaction fee on all Terrible Pay solutions in person and online. We need to talk a little bit about the market. These are some really big numbers, but our immediately addressable market is around 1 billion with a lot more potential to grow. And who's the team behind Terrible, or who's the Terrible team? We actually have an incredible team. The most important of them is the obvious one, who's Maud, who's the head of Barks and Recreation. But basically, we come from a background of music, entertainment, and some technology as well, and supply chain. And in case you're wondering who else is doing what we do, we have a lot of indirect competitors from software-only solutions to service-only solutions. The real magic in making this revenue work for artists is in solving all the problems in the same place with us. To date, all of our press and growth has been on word of mouth. So our route to mass market is a little unusual. When live music returns, we'll be at events, conferences, shows, meeting new clients, and making new partnerships as well. We always find we grow via partnerships. We're also going to create a lifestyle brand to generate loyalty, create demand, showcase our expertise. The products in themselves can then become the marketing. And of course, the network effect of the platform is incredibly powerful. We're going to lean heavily on this to grow in the future. Speaking of press, here's all the great press we have managed to secure. They kind of came to us and found us. We've been in everywhere from Wallpaper, which is a great honor, of course, for any company that does anything to do with design, all the way through to the BBC, and we've even been published in a book. So here's a list of our incredible clients. If you turn on the back, if anyone still has vinyl lying around their homes, I'm sure you'll be familiar with some of these logos. but we work across the industry with major labels, big streaming platforms, and with some of the world's biggest management companies. And we're really proud to talk about our numbers this year. During a pandemic year without live music, we've managed to sustain our revenue throughout the whole time. We intend to grow everything to over 100 million in revenue per year in the next 5 years. And currently we're looking for we've raised £250,000 in our £1 million raise for our seed fundraising. And we're going to use it over 2 years to scale the business, so we can become the very first ever truly scalable merchandise company to ever exist. And then thanks for having me. I'm happy to answer some questions now. How did I do on timing?
You took half the time you had, Tersha, so well done. And it was not terrible. In fact, it was very excellent. And I really have to congratulate you on how you've got through this past year. I know you and I have spoken about this before. And when we went into lockdown round about this time last year, you were one of the first companies I thought of in terms of, because you were relying on those live music events. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is going to be catastrophic for Tersha. And instead, it actually has been the ultimate silver lining, hasn't it?
I love a problem to solve. That is my favorite thing. So if you give me a problem to solve, I will solve it. And I guess COVID presented the biggest problem of all, but for our artists above us. So, you know, our job was to help them make money in a pandemic somehow, where their tours had all just been canceled overnight. So we got everything into warehouse. We built an e-commerce platform. We made it work really well. We rebuilt all our reporting, and our business model changed and grew, and has actually become far more exciting over the last year, because we've become an entire ecosystem for artists. And, you know, we've become even more ambitious in the theme of International Women's Day, choosing to challenge. Like, that's what we did with this year.
Yeah, and you've almost just answered Evelyn's question that's just popped up in the chat there, Tersha, but how have your revenue streams changed over COVID, and are they sustainable?
Yes. So we've added an extra revenue stream with online and e-commerce. That's become sustainable because of the partnerships we've had, and also because of the way fans have changed the way they shop. So fans are now really engaged with online, which is something that they completely ignored before. We've also expanded out of music into live entertainment, into theater, some comedy, and quite a few other things in the wake of COVID and other people looking to make revenue. So as music streaming affected a lot of businesses, like music businesses' revenues, COVID has affected a lot of other creative industries and live entertainment industries, and even sports in some cases. So this opens up a world online. And yeah, I mean, basically, if our clients are successful, we're successful. So any way in which we can serve them and solve them, that's a great thing. And we want to be able to do that in unlimited ways. So what we realized is that we need to add a marketplace onto the end of our supply chain as well. So that's our next step. That was changed. Previously, we were going to be a little more curated, but the problem is so big, it needs a much bigger solution. So that's what we're aiming to provide. We essentially want to save culture by making all these tiny little businesses come to life with good, solid revenue in the sale of physical products.
Yeah, and so talking of the problem, Charlene is asking, can you explain the problem in more detail, the problem that Terrible is solving, and how you got your messaging out to your customers?
Yeah. Well, the problem is that the biggest problem is that artists don't make money via anywhere else anymore. Once people stopped being able to sell CDs, the golden age of music, there wasn't a lot of money. Spotify still isn't profitable and still can't pay artists a decent amount of money. You can have 1 million streams and get $37 whole, which you have to split with your record label. So there has to be a better way. It seems that the music itself has now become marketing. And if it's marketing, what's it marketing? Products. And as with any business that sells products, efficiency, good inventory management, a reliable, steady supply chain is essential. And music merchandise has never operated that way. It's a business that makes money on being inefficient. So everything that would make a good business, a solid supply chain, reliable suppliers, good warehousing, accurate unit pricing, understanding everything in the model, on-time delivery, the right amount of things, that doesn't happen. because they make money out of all the inefficiencies. So what we're doing is replacing that with technology and using the data from previous tours from online to accurately predict stock, colors, size, volumes, and deliver it all on time to the right venue at the right place, or the right warehouse in the right location, and also the right kind of products for the right audience. Can't sell t-shirts to people who want mugs.
That's very true. Yes, you can make a t-shirt saying that. So I've got a sort of follow-on question from that, and it's from Lisa, who I know you know. She says, fantastic branding, by the way, but how do you handle the cash flow risk between design and manufacture and sales? We
don't have a stock risk. Things are paid for upfront. That's the model we actually adopted at the beginning of COVID. And actually everyone prefers it that way. Once our clients make an investment into the stock, they're actually more invested in selling it right. So it's almost a bit of a hook as well in the whole chain.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Charlene's asking, do you deal with the artists direct?
Sometimes. I often go and meet them at shows when we're playing shows, and I've been on a lot of Zoom calls with some pretty out there people over the last show, which is kind of exciting.
Anyone that we might have heard of, Teresa?
You know what? When you watch Eurovision this year, you'll be seeing there's an amazing artist that has somehow made it onto Eurovision. He's like gotten lost in there. He'll be on there, so you might know him. Otherwise, we've been working with PJ Harvey, Metronomy, some big grime artists. Are you into grime music, Elizabeth?
No, I'm afraid not.
Yeah, we work with over 400 artists. Some of them are really big. A lot of our artists have become top 10 artists this year, and we've got some Grammy nominees and Grammy winners as well that we've started working with in the last year over COVID too. So really exciting artists across all genres. What's cool to mention today is that 74% of our roster is female, because we're a female-led company. We're the most female-dominated music company probably in the UK, or if not the world.
Brilliant. That's really good to hear. I think my 17-year-old son's probably more likely to have heard of the bands that you're working with than I am, I will confess. I've got one final question from the audience here, and it's from Catherine Patterson, who's actually a finalist in this year's awards in Disruptive Innovation. And she's asking, she says it's selfish, but I'm sure everyone would be interested to know, how did you find the final of AccelerateHER?
I loved it. The world was in complete chaos. It was like the beginning of Zoom. And it was really exciting. The 3-minute challenge has made me an infinitely better pitcher. And you know, I think I've actually made some really lifelong friends and contacts, and a network that I'm super happy to be part of. Whether I won or lost anything doesn't really matter, because investing women, I mean, you know, Jackie and I speak on the phone, and I can pop in for coffee once a month if I have time. And that support is just has been invaluable. I love women, supporting women and getting together with women and doing things for women, and you know, keeps me inspired and keeps me in check, and also make sure I'm giving back and taking all I'm giving as well.
Absolutely. Teresa, you've been a fantastic addition to our network. As I said right at the start this afternoon, I have the best job in the world, because I get to meet people like you and Sheila and Kate and Monica. And it just inspires me and invigorates me. I've got one last question for you. I think I asked this at the finals last year, and I see you haven't done anything about it yet. It's in relation to your team. So you have got your head of Parks and Recreation, and I really appreciate that. But as a cat owner, I have to ask, when are you appointing your head of meowkitting?
You know what? As soon as live music's back and we get a new office, it's happening. It's absolutely happening. We just don't want to say that we've hired that until we have.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That makes sense. I'll let you off with that. Teresa, thank you very much. And thank you to our other 3 founders, Sheila Hogan from Biscuit Tin, Monica Tomeka from Fraction 8, and Kate Cameron from Cytochroma. It's been fantastic to hear all 4 of you pitch again, and see how much you've progressed in the past year or the past number of years since you were in the AccelerateHER finals. Thank you to Lindsay McGranahan and Jackie Waring for taking part in our fireside chat that had no fire. but had a lot of interesting discussion around it. Massive thank you to CGI for sponsoring this event and helping us make it happen, and hopefully it's something that we'll make happen again, so as we can keep shouting from the rooftops about the fabulous female founders that we work with. All remains for me to say is that you will be sent out a wee feedback survey after the event. We want to hear how you enjoyed this, if there's anything that we can do better. We hope you did enjoy it, and also you'll have an opportunity there to ask for an introduction to any of the 4 founders if you think you have got something to offer them. Thank you very much for your time, folks, and we'll see you again soon.